Hello everyone, this is Darshini Pai, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Design Department, ATMSAE Mysuru. So in this session, we'll be discussing about Object-Oriented Design Patterns Lab, the subject code being BCSL 504. So before going to the further explanation of any program, so let us understand the basics of this. The major topic completely depends upon the design patterns. So, before going to the explanations of any program, so let us understand the definition of design patterns. So, this design patterns is nothing but it's a proven solution given for a recurring problems in any phases of software design. So, in other words, you can say this design patterns is a blueprint, or it can be also called as a template in order to solve a particular kind of a problem. So there are three characteristics of this design pattern. So it is reusable, language independent, and it solves a specific design problem. So, how these key characteristics are useful? So, we'll see that later in the explanation of our program. So, now let us understand the uses of design pattern. So, in order to understand its uses, so now let us understand about the two things. So, the one is the problem and how these design patterns are helpful in order to solve this problem. So, the first problem is that creating too many objects everywhere. So this is a problem. So the solution, so which can be given using this design pattern is that, so we can use a factory pattern in order to solve this problem. So next we have is that, so we need only one instance of a class. So for that we can use a singleton pattern. So we know that the difference between classes and the object. So object is nothing but it's an instance of a class, and class is nothing but it's a collection of objects. So next problem is that when classes are tightly connected and they're hard to change. So when this problem arises, so we can simply use observer or a strategy pattern. So next problem is that if you want to change behavior during runtime, so in such condition, we can use strategy pattern. So next problem is that we want to simplify the complex system. So at that time we can use facade pattern. So this is how the different design patterns will gonna help to solve a particular problem. So in this slide, we'll understand the types of design pattern. So basically, there are 23 types of classical patterns. So which will be grouped into three main categories. So there are three categories. So under that, the first one is creational, structural, and behavior. So this type has a dedicated purpose, and depending upon the purpose, we can use the dedicated design pattern for the purpose and its type. So the first one is creational. So its purpose is to serve or to know how objects are created. So in order to meet this purpose, so we can use factory, singleton, or a builder pattern. So next type is that we have structural. So the purpose of the structural design pattern is that, so it defines how classes or the objects are composed. So in order to meet this purpose, so we can use adapter, decorator, or a facade design pattern. So next type of a design pattern or in category is that behavioral. So the purpose is that to define how objects will gonna communicate. So the example of this type is that observer strategy or a command design pattern. So this is about the basics of this laboratory. So the next video will be continuing with the explanation of our very first program. Thank you.